Hi guys, it's Callum and today we're doing a Premier League predictions video. So I'm going to be doing these rankings based off of team strength, current form and the new signings done in the transfer window, but some of them are going to be a few exceptions, some of them I'm going to rank pretty harshly compared to others. But anyway, let's get into it. So first, coming in at 20th, I'm sorry, it's going to have to be Ipswich Town. I don't want them to get relegated. To be fair, I kind of thought the same about Luton Town last season, that I want them to stay up, but they just won't. Because promoted teams never usually stay up, as shown by last year. All three went down. It's probably not going to be any different this year, which is going to be surprising why one of them's going to be an exception in this video. So they made some decent signings, doing Jake Greaves, Jack Clark and Liam Delap. But to be fair, I don't think it's going to be enough. So coming in at 19th, this one's going to shock a lot of people, but I'm going to say Everton. Now come on, hear me out here. This is definitely a hot take, but the current form, they've stunk out the Premier League, I'm sorry. And their transfer window's been just poor. I think they'll suffer their first relegation since 1951. I'm sorry, I really do. It's just not good to be showing that strength in the Premier League. Coming in at 18th, I'm going to have to slot Southampton. To be fair, they have shown a lot of fight when they actually have been in the Premier League and trying to stay up. Oh, the exception of Arsenal went 10 points clear. They kind of stunk out the whole Premier League, just like Everton have now. Even with the transfer window, even if they've signed Aaron Ramsdale, probably one of the most underrated keepers right now because he's been sat on the bench, plus Cameron Archer, who's actually been a pretty good attacker, I still think they're going to ultimately go down. But just barely to the number 17s, who I'm going to put right now as, for 17th, we're putting Man United. Yeah, only joking. 17th, I think, is going to be Forest. Now, it's a weird one because last year they were handed a points deduction, don't get me wrong, but still, they just don't look strong right now under the new manager. I mean, for me, I think the new manager plays too defensive. I mean, Chelsea managed to win the league and Champions League like that, but I don't think it'll be enough to put them anywhere above 17th. I mean, yeah, they will survive, but just barely. Coming in at 16th, we've got Leicester City, who in my opinion, will stay up and was the exception that I was talking about, because Leicester City have been recently promoted, and I just think they're going to stay up, because they were rumoured to have a points deduction, but at the time of this, they've gone against it and they've won. They're not getting any points deducted. So, to be fair, I think they can stay up because of one reason. This is going to sound a bit odd, but Jamie Vardy. It's his last season, and he's definitely going to want to score as many goals as he can and keep Leicester up to try shock the world once again, which I think he will succeed in doing so. Now 15th, I think that's going to be Crystal Palace, sadly. I mean, they are a team I like. They definitely impressed last season with the 4-0 win against Man U, but I think their loss of Elise is going to end up catching up to them. I mean, they've still got decent players like Eze, Jean-Philippe Mateta, and also, I'm pretty sure they still have Guehi, but still, that Elise blow is still going to hit them, and I'm just going to stick him in, I think 14th. Yeah, I think that's a good spot for him. But no, it's 15th. I'm going to stick him in 15th. That seems like a decent spot for Crystal Palace to be in, considering I'm pretty sure a few seasons ago they were much closer to relegation. Now 14th, I'm going to go Brentford, which is going to be a bit of a surprise because some people think they should be lower because of Tony, but this is going to be a very, very hot take, but I don't think Tony leaving is going to hurt him too much because I've seen Wissa and Mbeumo. Those two were really good when they're working together. Seriously, Also, Brentford are a team that I've seen cause a lot of upsets over the years, and I reckon their placement in the Premier League can also be caused by upsets. Brentford are literally the upset team. I mean, it's fitting that they're called the Bees because sometimes they sting, sometimes they don't. Coming in at 13th, I think it's going to be Bournemouth. Believe it or not, if that could slot in there, thank you. So, to be fair, after losing Solanke, I reckon some people expected Bournemouth to be lower, but to be fair, I think they'll do just fine because they've replaced him well enough. They've signed the most expensive goalkeeper. To be fair, I think those two combined will be enough to keep them up and keep them well away from relegation. Plus, they've always been a fairly decent team in the Prem and they cause an upset or two in them. And that's why I think they're going to slot in at 13th. Now, at higher mid-table, I think, believe it or not, I think Wolves are going to be there. Yeah, believe it or not. To be fair, Wolves are a team that's constantly shocked other teams and been shocked themselves in the previous 2 years. Like beating City and then recently losing 6-2 to Chelsea. It's just, how do you be that inconsistent? I mean, that can help them out in the long run because people underestimate them, but still. I mean, to be fair, they haven't even gotten that much weaker either because they've only lost Kilman, I think. But to be fair, I think they'll do around as well as last year, despite not being as strong. So yeah, I fancy him for 12th. 11th above Wolves, it's gonna be Fulham. Yeah, Fulham. To be fair, I say that after everything. Fulham are a team that have gotten weaker in midfield by losing their star Palhinha, but they've actually gotten strong in attack. Smith Rowe, Reece Nelson, and Babu at right back. But it makes them a pretty scary attacking side, to be fair. Mind, they're not off to a bad start either necessarily, so they could still pick up the pace, because from what I've seen of them, they aren't actually in full gear yet. And if they go into full gear, I reckon a few big teams might actually be in trouble this season. Coming at 10th, I think it's going to be the Hammers. To be fair, they're already a pretty strong team, and they've added Wan-Bissaka, Kilman, and Fulkrug to it. To be fair, I feel like I'm doing them a disservice putting them this low, because I bet some people think they should at least get Conference League, but I kind of think even with their signings, they're still going to fall a bit short, because as shown by Chelsea, money spent does not always equal success. And even if they've got ballers like Kudus and who else is in there? I think Jared Bowen. I think they'll be well off in higher mid-table. Actually no, I'm gonna predict that next season they're gonna get Conference League or Europa League, because I think then they'll find their missing piece to fully go in. Now 9th. Yeah, I'm doing it. Chelsea. This for two big glaring reasons. Their transfer window has been a complete mess, signing any players like it's Football Manager. Like, there's absolutely no thought put into what players they're signing or selling. It's just mindless. Come on, Chelsea. Also, just in general, they've been in disarray. Last year they got a bit better when Pochettino started to kick off, but for some reason Todd Bowley decides to sack him, and now they're currently with Enzo Maresca, who I haven't actually seen do that much in the Prem, so you could say he's unproven in the Prem for the most part. Also, Enzo trying to take on such a big challenge like this fractured Chelsea team, I think it's going to be hard for them. They're going to fall off just as bad as they usually did. Finishing off the higher mid-table, this was a tough one between Aston Villa and Newcastle, but I'm gonna have to edge it out to Newcastle being below Conference League. It's just I feel like Newcastle need a few more signings for the bench. The bench currently does not look great, and if a player like Isaac gets injured, which he probably will because of his injury record, they will suffer. It's just like another team that I'm looking at in this list who I think is going to fall off a little bit. But yeah, for that reason I'm putting them at 8th, just shy of Europa Conference League. But I also think that even though Tonali's back, I think he'll be a solid player for them, but sadly I don't think one player will be enough. I'm sorry, Newcastle. 7th for the Europa Conference League spot. I mean, you're going to see this one coming for what I said previously, but it's going to be Aston Villa. Yeah, I think they're going to get Europa Conference League, yes. I do believe playing in the Champions League is going to take its toll on them, mentally and probably physically. I mean, if they don't go out early, then I think they'll definitely... Actually, yeah, if they don't go out early and they're still looking solid, then I'd be willing to move them up to Europa League, but it definitely can't be Champions League again, surely. Because they need to keep up financially, physically, and I don't think it'll happen because it's kind of hard to break into the Big Six now with all the financial rules in place and all the extra games being played. It's not Aston Villa's fault, but I'm sorry, you're going to have to go in at 7th. We now move on to an interesting team in Brighton Hove Albion, who I think is actually going to get Europa League again, because from their starting form, they've looked definitely revitalised from last season. So last season, they looked nowhere near the team they used to be, and now I think they're going to start firing again. Because from what I've seen, João Pedro, he's been on fire. Scored two goals to secure them more points. Because against Arsenal, against Man United, scoring the last minute winner. I think they're going to be on it this season. I actually think they're going to be like Leverkusen, but they're definitely not going to go unbeaten. Because City exists, unfortunately. But yeah, they will definitely be the team to grab those late winners or late equalisers to secure them points. And I think it'll be enough for Europa League, I really do. Now, we get into the interesting part, the top 5. Well, I think at least 2 of them are assured, but I think number 5 is going to be Man United. They've had an excellent transfer window, but they just can't get it right no matter what team they have. I rarely see them dominating a game or on fire at all. They're inconsistent as hell. I mean, they do look a bit better than last year. They most likely definitely won't get Champions League football. You can hold me on that if you want, but I still stand by it. But even without Ten Hag's curse of not being able to get European football, or last year anyway, I think they will definitely go a step up and get Europa League normally this season. 4th, I'm going to have to put Spurs, believe it or not, even though they're our rivals. They've got good youth players who are going to be integrated into an already pretty solid starting 11. They've signed a gunman striker in Solanke, who was actually a very good signing, contrary to some people thinking that it was a fluke. I think he'll bang at least 12 goals. You can hold me on that again, but I think they'll do well this season and ultimately get UCL football. They won't win it though, let's be honest. Now we've got 3rd. Believe it or not, I'm going to put Arsenal at 3rd. I think we've actually gone down from last year, believe it or not, because we've gotten rid of our crucial bench players in Smith Rowe, Reece Nelson, and Ramsdale, and we look very thin in midfield with our new signing Mikel Merino being injured. One injury and the whole team collapses. It's just like Mark Goldbridge, put it in a cup of tea and it'll dissolve. Like, we've got no depth. Actually, no, we have got defensive depth. Midfield depth, don't even talk about it. Odegaard injury, we're doomed. Any more defensive midfield injuries, we're doomed. I'm pretty sure a Saka injury, there's pretty much no replacement other than Raheem Sterling. And striker, Havertz, if he gets injured, we're down to Jesus. If Jesus is already injured, we're done. We can't really... Actually, no, we can put Trossard there, sorry. Anyway, I stand by that Arsenal are not going to do as well as last season. But I actually think they're going to win the Carabao Cup. So, again, you can hold me on that. And then, there was two of them left. Man City and Liverpool. I'm sorry, I'm just gonna... I don't need to explain myself here, do I? I mean, this was kind of expected. City are unstoppable. The signing, Savio looks amazing. They signed back Gundogan on the free. Haaland scored 7 in 3. I don't need to explain anything else because, let's be honest, we all know it's going to happen. And they're all going to do it again. Liverpool, Arnie slot ball looks like it's starting to kick into gear. Only one signing in Chiesa. Salah's back on form again. And they're looking great again. I reckon in a few years' time they're going to win a Premier League under Arnie Slot. I can't say the same for a few teams on this list though. Actually, I haven't contended 1-1-5, but let's be honest, they're going to pay their way out of it. I can see it happening a mile away. So anyway, that was my Premier League predictions video. If you liked it, press the like button. If you want to see more, make sure to subscribe. And I'll see you in the next video, which is probably going to be Friday Night Funkin' Beat Battles. Bye guys!